This is your Bible Geeks Daily Download, Shelf Life of Sin.
If you've ever poured sour milk on your cereal in the morning, you probably paid much more attention to expiration dates next time you went shopping. Most food has a shelf life, but have you ever considered that our worldly pleasures have a shelf life too? In 1 John 2 verses 16 and 17 we read, "For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires, but whoever does the will of God abides forever."
The pleasure of worldly pursuits doesn't last long, as three men in the Bible learned firsthand. David's lust. David, a man after God's own heart, struggled to see the shelf life of sin in 2 Samuel chapter 11. Whatever pleasure he experienced in his adulterous relationship with Bathsheba, it was certainly short-lived. Soon after, he faced severe and terrible consequences for a few fleeting moments of gratification. When you struggle with self-control, don't just focus on the pleasure. Think about the consequences. Like Paul, discipline yourself now, so you don't miss out on the eternal reward in the end. So will you see beyond the momentary pleasure to the eternal consequences?
Achan's covetousness. Achan, a greedy Israelite, struggled to see the shelf life of sin in Joshua 7 verse 21. In spite of God's instructions about the riches of Jericho, Achan stole some gold and silver for himself. Sadly, he never even lived to spend his newfound, yet ill-gotten wealth, since all the people stoned him to death after finding out. When your eyes become fixated on what you don't have, don't just focus on the pleasure of acquiring it. Think about the long-term price you'll pay. Jesus said it would be better to be voluntarily blind than to allow your eyes to lead you into eternal destruction. Matthew 5:29-30. So, will you guard your eyes against pursuing material satisfaction?
Nebuchadnezzar's arrogance. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, struggled to see the shelf life of sin in Daniel chapter 4 verses 28-33. During a routine walk on the palace roof, he proudly shouted about his greatness and majesty for building such a prosperous kingdom. But before the words left his lips, he was driven out to eat grass with the cows. When your heart inflates with feelings of pride, don't just focus on your accomplishments. Consider the consequences of forgetting God's role in your success. Not drunk on our importance, we need to sober up and realize that God makes us who we are. Romans chapter 12 verse 3. So are you willing to lower yourself and honor God?
May God help us today to choose the limitless blessings of godliness over the limited pleasure of sin.
Thanks for tuning in, and may the Lord bless you and keep you today.
Shalom.